Okay, folks, hope you're well, and we'll just be welcoming some people online. And let me know in the comments. I believe the comments are activated. Where about in the world you are dialing in from. If you could let me know in the comments where you are dialing in from, that'd be amazing. We've got quite a few people just logging in, so that's really good to see you all. Hope you are enjoying the weekend. And if you're in the UK, you're probably enjoying a lovely bank holiday weekend, May Day. So lovely sunny where I'm at in Sevenoaks in Kent. So let me know in the chat whereabouts you are connecting in from. And our session today is really centered around our unique ability to access our genius. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Ryan Pinnock. I've got an organization called SuperGenius, and SuperGenius is really our vision and our purpose is about empowering people to unleash their genius and create an amazing life. Now, genius in our definition is our inner guiding spirit. You might actually know that as a genius, we've all got natural gifts and talents. So you can get a musical genius, you can get a business genius, you can get a parental genius, you can get a healing genius. I'm sure many of you are healing geniuses. And if you actually look up the original definition of the word genius, it means inner guiding spirit. That's why we have the genie in the bottle. So the truth, though, is folks, you can actually rub the lamp as many times as you want. You've got infinite amount of wishes. So if you'd love an infinite amount of wishes, type yes into the comments. That'd be amazing. Thank you. We've got someone in Hertfordshire, Virginia. That's cool. If you're just logging on, welcome. Let me know in the chat whereabouts you are dialing in from. It'd be good to know who we're speaking to. So what I want to share with you folks are just 3 key principles that are going to help you unleash your genius and create an amazing life. The first principle is the power of purpose. Now, this is not an uncommon philosophy or idea, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the idea of purpose. And what I'm trying to share with you today is hopefully going to give you an additional insight into purpose. So really, there are 2 kinds of people when it comes to the journey of purpose. One is those who are still discovering their purpose. And folks, when I talk about purpose, I'm specifically talking about different areas of life. Obviously, a lot of people talk about purpose in relation to work, but we can and we should and we must have purpose in relationships. We must have purpose in fun and hobbies. We must have purpose in health. And so by having purpose, what that does is it gives us a focal point in the subconscious mind. So I think of purpose as the destination in a sat nav. Nowadays with a sat nav or Google Maps, whatever your preferred navigation tool is, you type the destination in as soon as you get into your vehicle. Well, that's what purpose is, folks. Then the second type of person around purpose is people who already know their purpose. And this is where we attract a lot of people who are very keen to find out more about their purpose because they already know their purpose. Maybe they've got 1 or more areas of life working extremely well, but 1 or 2 other areas of life are not so flowing and fluid and abundant and effortless, right? So when we look at purpose, I very much think of purpose as an organic part of life, very much like a garden. So if you already know your purpose, that's amazing. The thing to then try and do is to evolve your purpose like a garden. You need to look at potentially adding some other features into the garden to make it more vibrant. Maybe you can bring some fruits and trees and vegetables into it. Maybe you want to bring some, shrubs and add different elements to it. Now, that's quite a well-known idea and a really well-known philosophy. And obviously, the more that purpose blossoms and the more that purpose grows, well, you're going to have a much more abundant life, right? So the thing about gardening and our purpose, which is really where we do quite a lot of our work, and that's why a lot of our community members create absolute miracles. People who've healed themselves from terminal illnesses, people who've been told by conventional medicine that they are unable to have children. They have multiple failed IVFs, and then they come and do work with us on their healing, and they actually end up having children. people who didn't know their passions and then discovering a passion for music, and within 3 years being, UK top 20 musicians with singles that are in the charts here in the UK. So the work we do is very much about empowering purpose, but also giving tools and techniques. And one of the key reasons our philosophy at SuperGenius is so powerful is, if you think of the garden philosophy, if you take out the weeds from the garden, right, then your garden will grow. Because what happens, folks, if you don't take the weeds out of your garden? They're going to destroy all the good work that you're doing. So that's why lots of people are doing affirmations, vision boards, goal setting, and law of attraction, and all of that good work, which is amazing work. But they've not healed their unconscious mind. They've not taken the weeds out of their consciousness. So they're putting all this good work in. They're doing affirmations. They're doing vision boards. They're using their imagination. They're activating the law of attraction and the secrets and all these amazing forces of God and the universe that are available to us magically and synchronistically. But they're not taking out the weeds from their unconscious mind. And then the unconscious mind is strangling all that potential, strangling all that abundance, strangling all that love, healing, and possibility, you see? So the first step, and it might seem paradoxical, the first step in mastering your purpose, folks, is healing the unconscious mind from your past experiences so that you have no fear or less fear. You have no anger or less anger. And so that the source of your negative emotions, which in the metaphor of the garden is your weeds, you have less negative emotions. Imagine a life where your negative emotions like anger and depression and fear and anxiety and negative self-talk and limiting beliefs has been tuned down and maybe even healed completely extracted. Imagine all the beautiful potential you're going to experience. I believe that you don't become enlightened. I believe that we are all enlightened already. The only difference is that some people have a lot of cloud cover in their consciousness, so therefore the light is being blocked. It's a bit like, for those of us who live in the UK will know that we do believe that the sun is there. We have seen the sun from time to time throughout the year, but the cloud cover blocks the sunlight. So the unconscious mind, your ego, that blocks our potential. And it's my experience and the experience of thousands of people that have joined the Super Genius programs and the various philosophies that we implement in different ways, shapes, and form, that actually create the space-time for their enlightening energy to come out. And it's super, super powerful. I'm a big believer that the clearer you are in your purpose, the more intimate you are in your purpose, and the more purpose you have across all areas of life, that's when you create flow, synchronicity, magic, and effortlessness. If you're experiencing compromised, mediocre, stressful, friction-orientated creativity and the results aren't there, guess what, folks? With love and respect, we haven't quite nailed our purpose yet, and we need to do a lot more work on that, okay? So let me know in the chat if this is resonating for you. So type yes in the chat if this is resonating for you. And let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are in relation to mastering your purpose? 1 being, I'm just starting out, which is amazing, well done. 10 being, I am flying. When I wake up, I'm levitating, all right? Like, I'm such a powerful magnetic force. I'm a high vibrational frequency. Like, money sticks to me. People stick to me. Affirmation, angel cards, they stick to me. Every time I walk around, I just see angel numbers, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are? Let me know. Fine. So that's the first thing, folks. Purpose. We've got to know where we're going, right? Einstein said you can't fix a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. So we don't want to be fixing problems with problem thinking. When we think fixing problems with purpose thinking, always find out what it is you'd love to create and where you'd love to go. The second part, so that's purpose. The second part is really mastering your unconscious mind and healing your consciousness. You want to, really build that unconscious, subconscious mind so that you have the ability to plant all the good stuff in. Now, we need to understand the basics of the conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. So I want you to think of your subconscious mind as a garden where you plug everything in and you plant everything in. That's really powerful. Now, what happens is from the age of 0 to 7, we actually create our ego. Now, if you follow Carl Jung's work or any of the great psychologists, what happens is that ego is created as a protection mechanism so that it can stop you from feeling pain. It's kind of like your comfort zone, basically. So your ego is effectively your comfort zone. So what happens is, much like I've got a scar here on my arm, and I always forget that I have the scar, except when I tell the story. So there you can see I've got a scar. When I was a young boy, I was playing cricket, I was playing sports, and I was diving to catch a ball, and I dived on a broken bottle, and it slashed my arm. And there's a scar there, right? So now if I press that scar with something sharp, relatively, I won't feel any pain. So that scar is on the physical level. Our ego is a wound or a scar on the mental emotional level. So in the same way that when you have a physical scar, you can't feel any pain when you press it, your ego is a mental emotional scar stopping you from feeling pain. That's why we have a comfort zone. So the trick in mastering life is absolutely, before you do affirmations, before you do vision boards, before you do goal setting and all the good stuff, is to actually heal your wound, heal your past pain. So that's why the Sufis say, Rumi says, your light is through the wound. You see, you've got to actually heal the pain that's in your consciousness because it's holding you back. For example, I grew up in a very violent household. I grew up in a space where my dad was super violent. And unfortunately, that meant that I built an ego which was centered around not trusting people. I was afraid of opening my heart. I was afraid of letting people in. I had a tremendous anxiety. I most likely had severe trauma. And as a result, up until the age of 30, I was never really in a relationship. When I would get into business as a coach, I really didn't even employ people. I didn't partner with anyone. I didn't trust anyone, right? So that was all unconscious. And the word unconscious is very important. You've got to think about, what does the word unconscious actually mean? So when you Google or look up the definition of the word unconscious, it means that you are unaware. So we literally, folks, have a program that we are unaware of that's driving our thinking and our feelings and our emotions. So in personal development, most people say, if you want to change your life, change your thoughts. I think that's a good suggestion. I don't think it's the most powerful suggestion, because your wound drives your thoughts. So if you try and change your thoughts, that's like trying to rearrange the chairs on the Titanic. What you want to do, folks, is you want to heal the wound. So instead of looking for ways to trust people, which is what I used to do, you got to look for the root cause of the insecurity that's driving the need to trust. And if you can pluck that weed out of your consciousness, boom, you are healed. That wound's going to be a non-issue for you. And actually, you will have no need to trust people, because you are whole, you are love, you are power, you are creativity. When you're emanating and vibrating at a frequency of unconditional love, you don't need to trust people because you're powerful, right? So this is super important, folks. If you are out there and you are ultimately raising your consciousness and vibration towards the frequency of love, you'll find that your wound is very powerfully healed and very powerfully evolved. And therefore, you actually trigger the law of attraction in a real way, because what happens is, with law of attraction, you're actually a magnet. I don't know if you've been doing work on yourself and like, oh my gosh, I'm not fulfilling my potential. I keep attracting the same thing over and over again. I'm visualizing my stuff, but it's not happening. That's because, folks, again, I'm going to say everything with love and respect and empathy. Your vibration is not matching the frequency of your vision. And therefore, you need to do some past healing work, which we can support you on. So that's the second step. So first step, purpose. Second step, healing your consciousness. And then third step is mastering the art of creativity. And I believe that, God put us on the planet to create what we love, to create heaven on earth, right? So knowing how to go about creating is super powerful. So at SuperGenius, we've got a really powerful personal development methodology called super conscious alchemy. And the way that we teach creativity, which complements every other methodology, right? I don't believe anyone's better or worse. I think we're all very good and we have a place in the world and we can actually complement each other, is we teach people how to channel emotions into spiritual inspiration and action taking. So think of it this way. I've got a good example. So think back to a time at school where you had a project that you needed to do or some homework, right? And you had a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks to do the project or the homework. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this homework as soon as I get home because last time when I did it, I left it right until the last minute and I was stressed. So I'm not going to do that again. That was really stressful. And then you get home and you get distracted. You put the telly on. You know, when I was at school, programs like He-Man and Thundercats and Knight Rider on TV, and they're very compelling, right? So I put the TV on. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great TV. And I get distracted. And then one day goes past, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. And then eventually, you know what happens? It's the night before the due date. And suddenly you kick into action. So why did you kick into action? Because you were under pressure, you were under tension. So tension creates action, right? Procrastination is just a lack of pressure. Diamonds are created under pressure. Diamonds are not created in a comfort zone. So as part of a master of life, as part of a creator, we've got to learn to master pressure. And this might sound like a weird thing to say, we've actually got to create pressure in our life so that we take consistent action throughout the day instead of just waiting for deadlines, because then we're taking action under stress. And stress is not a great form of pressure. You want intuitive pressure, you want inspirational pressure, you want motivational pressure. And the way you can do that, folks, is by channeling your daily emotions, fear, anxiety, depression, anger, any negative emotion. You can transform that energy from a low vibrational negative emotion into a high vibration source of inspiration, motivation, and dedication. And if you know how to do that through the process of alchemy, which is turning lead into gold, lead is negative emotions, gold is power, creativity, and genius, you'll be taking action on a daily basis consistently. You'll be fitter, healthier, more loving. You'll be more open. You will put yourself out there. You'll take action towards fulfilling your purpose easily and effortlessly, and it'll be natural. So the first step is purpose. The second step is healing your consciousness. And the third step is channeling pressure, creating pressure on a consistent base in a healthy way, on a consistent basis, so that you constantly take an action towards your vision and your dreams. Okay, so those are the 3 steps that we cover in Super Genius to help people go about creating amazing lives. Now, I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to share this message with you. I'm very grateful to Mind, Body, Spirit for giving me the opportunity. It's a real honor to be part of the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival event. If you haven't registered or booked your ticket yet, please do so. Make sure you do come along. It's an amazing event. I've always loved going there right from the start of my spiritual personal development journey. And now we're very fortunate to actually contribute in a small way with a small space, but there's going to be lots of people there. Please make sure you do come along. I would recommend, coming along for more than 1 day, come for 2 or 3 days, because there's just so many great things. The food is great. There's lots of experiences, lots of meetings. And of course, if you resonate with what we're sharing here, do pop on over to the Super Genius stand. Just look for that sign. And we'd love to have a further conversation with you. I'm going to open the floor for questions. But before I do so, I do want to give you the opportunity to join our free 2-day virtual seminar. We run them every month, and we're just sorting out the dates for the next one. We just finished one last weekend. But if at any point you want to pop along to that 2-day free virtual workshop, where I actually give you the tools and techniques, the meditations and the processes to get clarity of purpose, to heal your consciousness, and to channel negative emotions into creativity, you simply have to hop on over to bit.ly/supergeniusinfo, INFO, and fill in the form. It's first name, last name, mobile. We'll pop you a link to the next 2-day virtual, and we'd be delighted to have you attend. So that's bit.ly/supergeniusinfo, and we'd be delighted to welcome you there. Now, if you'd love to take the opportunity to ask me a question, I wanted to split our time evenly today between sharing information with you and hopefully inspiring you and giving you something to think about, as well as opening the floor for any questions that may pop up. So I'd be happy to field any questions now. If you've got any, just type them into the chat. And I know the team on Mind Body Spirit Festival will pop them up on the screen, and we can address them. So a question I often get while you're typing the questions into the chat, if you've got one, is what is intuition, right? Because it's such a broad topic. So intuition is basically, for me, how our spirit talks to us. So I believe our spirit, our genius, speaks to us through intuition and imagination. I believe our ego speaks to us through thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Right? Now, I believe, of course, there's multiple philosophies out there in the world. I'm not saying I'm right and everyone else is wrong. It's just our approach, and if it resonates, great. If not, that's cool. If you've got your own approach, that's good too. But I believe that our genius talks to us through intuition and imagination, and I believe our ego talks to us through thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So the trick in life is to have a very powerful connection to your intuition. And I love Steven Spielberg's definition of intuition. Steven Spielberg's definition of intuition is the little whisper that speaks to you, right? So one of the things that we do at SuperGenius is we help people create an amazing relationship with their intuition, such that you have the ability to ask your intuition any question, and it will give you the insights that you need to follow through on. So part of what we teach at our Super Genius Live 2-day virtual is the Genius on Demand process, where within seconds, you'll be able to close your eyes, see in your imagination exactly what it is that you would love to create, and you'll be able to follow through on that in a very, very powerful way. So the trick there, folks, is to actually quieten down your ego, listen to the inner guiding spirit, and then follow through on that information. Now, the great news is every single person on the planet has that ability. We have the ability to quieten down our ego, quieten down our thoughts and feelings, and then access our intuition. In fact, that's how I started Super Genius. When I learned the methodology I'm sharing with you now, I knew I was going to coach people and help people, but I didn't know that I was going to start and grow a business. So what I did was I used that 3-step process. I closed my eyes and I saw the word Super Genius. And what was great about that was I followed through on that. And actually, even though I had no business experience, even though I had no marketing experience, coaching experience, I was able to use my intuition to create a company called Super Genius starting in 2015 and generate, multiple 7 figures, even 8 figures eventually in revenue. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that was possible. I'm a simple dude from Cape Town, South Africa, and when I set out to be a coach and help people, I never in my wildest dreams imagined that we were going to serve thousands of people, in London. And fortunately now we've progressed to serve people, internationally as well. So that's kind of new. But my point is that I didn't have business experience. I had no marketing experience. And in my first year of trading, we did $500,000 in revenue. Second year of trading, we did 1 million. Third year in trading, we did 2 million. And we've done over 10 million in revenue. Now, I built Super Genius not to make money as my first goal, because I used to do that. When I was in my 20s, my ego was very much about making money. I got into property investing, and my vision board was all about boats and cars and planes and very materialistic things. And that was obviously an ego perspective. But now, because Super Genius is built around my purpose, which is to heal the consciousness of the planet, create more love, and reform the education sector, that purpose is far greater than myself, far bigger than myself. And the reason that's important, folks, is your purpose must be bigger than your problems, okay? If your purpose is smaller than your problems, then when you hit a problem, you're going to give up. But when your purpose is bigger than your problems, you're going to keep stepping up. You're going to keep accessing an unconquerable spirit. You're going to keep accessing creativity that, quite frankly, you wouldn't know existed unless you had that pressure. So, there's a beautiful film about Nelson Mandela called Invictus. If you've not watched it, do go check it out. And it just demonstrates how powerful our spirit is, how our unconquerable spirit is truly, truly remarkable. And the great news is, whether you're on a healing journey, a money journey, maybe your finances aren't great right now, which is unfortunately very common for people at this time of our existence. Maybe you're on a relationship journey, you've been in a tough time, or you want to take your existing relationship to a whole new level. The best thing you can ever do, folks, is have an intimate relationship with your spirit, a super powerful relationship with your intuition, and have the ability to quieten down your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if you can do that, I promise you can live a life of miracles. I promise you can live a life beyond your wildest imagination. I never thought I would be living a life where I'd be serving thousands of people. I never thought I'd be living a life with a beautiful partner, and she's, got a lovely daughter, and I'm very blessed to be part of her life. It's a very sacred experience to be part of someone's, child, and being there to support them and hopefully inspire them and hopefully not influence their accent too much. So, for me, like, I won't go into my story because, everyone's got a story. But if I don't want to sound like judgmental here. When I was growing up, I never imagined I could create the life that I've got right now. I didn't even know it was possible. Like, I came from a really unambitious area. It was very small, minded. It was very toxic. It was very negative and racist and violent and alcoholic, and it was hardcore, right? And to be here now, having healed myself from alcoholism and drug addiction in my 20s, to have created a business. I studied engineering, by the way. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Making a difference in the world, but most important, I think the thing for me that's I'm most proud of is just having inner peace, no matter how stressful life gets. Business is tough. When you're dealing with thousands of people and you've got a big team, and you're dealing with technology, there's a lot to stress about. And I think what's great is, by mastering superconscious alchemy, you can actually have inner peace in the face of stress and adversity. And I think that's really important. I think anyone can go and meditate on a mountain somewhere for 30 years and create inner peace. But can you create inner peace when your family are going through a tough time, when your business is struggling? Do you have inner peace when your relationships maybe not going in the right direction? Can you have inner peace when there's lots going on in the external world and you're like, oh my gosh, how is it possible for me to carve my unique path, and create what I love? And that's the key, folks. So I don't think we've got any questions, which is cool. I really do hope that you folk come along to the show. It's going to be an amazing show. Last year was absolutely phenomenal. I was there for 4 days and I had a great time. I didn't see one stand that wasn't worth looking at, which, you go to shows, business shows or whatever, and you're like, yeah, cool, maybe 5 or 10% of them are good. But literally every single stand is amazing. The food is amazing. The people is amazing. And just being there and just feeling the vibe and feeling the energy is so, so beautiful. So make sure you pop over to Mind Body Spirit Festival. Make sure you pop over to our stand. And if you did want to find out a little bit more about what we're offering at SuperGenius and our free virtual workshops for discovering your purpose or how to start and grow a business, we help people start and grow their businesses using intuition and imagination. Then hop on over to bit.ly/supergeniusinfo, and we will gladly email you some information. That's bit.ly/supergeniusinfo, and we'd love to see you there. Otherwise, lots of love, everyone. Thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something, and let me know if there's anything we can do to support you. Yeah, Robbie, I think there is some links that will be sent to you by email, so do keep a lookout for that. Thanks for that question. That's really cool. Thank you, Jalome. I think I've said your name correctly. Lots of love to you, and hope to see you at the event. But yeah, thanks everyone, and really appreciate you. Lots of love.